So today I am doing two crafts. One is, I've already done some sewing. I've made these little pouches. They're just rough and ready. They're kind of disposable really. I got some hessian from a local craft shop that's opened, and it was just £2 and there was enough to make 4 little bags. And then I'm going to use my Cricut machine to decorate them, and I'll show you how I do that. And then second of all, I'm going to be icing my cake. So I will have to stop and start the video obviously, because I don't actually have a film crew here. That might surprise you. So yeah, I'll get on with it. Basically, if you recall from my shopping haul, I bought 4 of these for my 4 sisters. I'm seeing them on Saturday. I just thought it was a nice little gift for Christmas. You know, it's just a tree decoration, so it doesn't it's not a big deal, if you know what I mean. They can just put it in, and I just want to put it in one of these little bags and just put a little message on the top. And I've got this pink vinyl, which is iron-on vinyl, and so I will take you with me as I do that on my Cricut machine, which I showed you when I was doing the crackers. So that's what I'm up to today. So I'll get started. Like I said, I'm going to have to move the camera and stuff, so it will be a bit stop-start. But bear with me if you're interested. I know that lots of people wonder about getting a Cricut machine, and I wondered for ages, but I love that kind of thing. I bought loads of labels before I bought a machine, and the first machine I bought was the Joy, which I've got here actually. I'll show you. This is just a little machine, and if you just want to do it as a bit of a hobby, this is probably big enough. You can only do things that are about 5 inches wide, but obviously, you know, 5 inches is actually quite big if you want to do letters, and you can break things down so that you do sort of separate words at a time, and that's really a really good entry model. If you really enjoy it, then you can upgrade, and you can probably quite easily sell your Cricut Joy on eBay or local Facebook marketplace or whatever. But I kept both of them because for me they kind of fulfill different functions. And I bought my my big machine in Costco because, again, to be honest with you, if I get bored with it, I can just take it back and they'll give me a refund. So I am going to get myself set up for the next stage of the proceedings, and then you will see how I go from there and how I decorate these little bags. So you can see here what I'm going to put on the bags, and I'm the eldest of 5 girls, so they're all my little sister, even though they're all taller than me, and it just says little sister and then love Helen. And I am going to mirror those so that they're iron on, and I will show you the next stage of the proceedings. So what will happen is that the machine will work out the best use of the vinyl. So these are all kind of, where you can see these are all grouped together. So that will cut together, that will cut together, and that will cut together. So I won't have all bits and words everywhere, or at least that's the plan. And yeah, so I'll take it from there. So the first thing I have to do is put the iron-on vinyl onto this mat, which obviously feeds it into the machine. So I will put that face down on the mat. So that's that side first. So this is basically a vinyl with a clear backing, and I want to cut the vinyl and not the backing. And I kept getting that wrong in the first place, and my daughter came up with cut the vinyl, not the carrier, and that enabled me to do this. I'm just loading up the design on the computer, and the really important thing is always that you make sure that you mirror the image, and I've just realised that I didn't do that, so I've just gone back in and mirrored it. That's the mistake I made the most often when I started this. So you press the go button, and that should just get started cutting that out now. So fingers crossed. So I should have 4 Love Sisters and 4 Little Sister and 4 Love Helen. I find it completely fascinating the way this machine works. You know, it's like you get the great big CNC machines in engineering workshops and things, but it's just a little household machine that gives you no end of possibilities. You know, last year I made little crackers to put gifts in from coloured decorative card. I've made birthday cards, Mother's Day cards. I've done loads for the children with t-shirts and things, and I've also got one that I'm going to be making for a gift, but I will show you that afterwards because I think they might watch it, so I don't want to kind of show that before I'm ready, but before the birthday. So we're 20% of the way through now. I'll stop the video and then I'll just restart it when it's finished. So we're just coming to the end of the cut now. So it's just doing the last little bit. I'll just go back into Cricut on the laptop. We've got just 8% left to do. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it comes off there. And then I'll do the next stage of the proceedings, which is to get the heat press. And first we'll have to weed it. If you remember, that's when you take the excess vinyl off, and then have to cut it down to the various parts that I need to put onto the little bags. So it's just a bit of fun, really. I quite like doing things like this, personalising things. It shows that you've gone to a bit of trouble. Probably no one will really realise how much trouble I went to, but that's not their problem, is it? That's my choice for doing it. So here we go. It's 100% done now. And I'll just release it. And then here we have the finished article. So just lift it off the mat, which is sticky. And then I'm not going to bother saving the vinyl. I'm going to cut it down because sometimes if you've got too much kind of to play with, it can get in your way. So I'm just going to cut that off there. I can just about see, you probably can't see on camera, but I can just about make out where everything is. So I will lift it from the top corner, lift the vinyl. And we'll start to see what it looks like. This is a lot easier because it's not sticky in itself. When you're doing the normal vinyl, it's actually sticky in itself, if that makes sense. Whereas the carrier plastic is sticky, but not madly sticky. But then I'm not kind of lifting that off, if you see what I mean. I'm just lifting the vinyl off. So you have to go a little bit steady, but this isn't so kind of vulnerable as the last one. So I won't do the whole thing for you because in front of you, because that'd just be like watching paint dry, really. But you can kind of see what's happening. Obviously, there's words in there, and there's the little arrow there that will start to come away. Doing this back to front, so I mean, I'm not that, you know, I'm not that good at this stuff. I'm just showing you because if anybody is thinking of getting one or maybe asking for one of these machines for Christmas, it gives you an idea of the sort of thing you can do. And yeah, so you can see I still have to weed these letters, and I'll carry on and do that, and then I'll show you where I get to with this part of the proceedings. So that's all weeded now. That's where you take the excess out, and so they're all there done. I'll just do one for you, obviously. So now I'm using my Easy Press mat and my little mini press. These are very expensive, these things, but my daughter bought me one for Christmas a couple of years ago. And so I put it on the high heat because obviously Hessian is very resilient and won't be affected by burning. So I just wait for that to get to green. Well, hopefully it won't burn. And I just looked at the best way to arrange these, because obviously I don't want them completely covered by the flap, but I think a little bit like that is fine. So just keep that out of the way. And then I thought it looks kind of nice. So I didn't like it centered, so I'm just putting that over to one side, and I'll just wait for those lights to go green, and then I'm ready to go. So wish me well. I do usually have a piece of baking parchment handy if I need it. Right, so that's green. So the important thing with this isn't kind of to go backwards and forwards, at least not to start with. So I just press quite heavily on there. I do it all by just my own judgment, really. And what you do need to do is make sure that it's cool before you try and peel it off. I am pressing down quite heavily for obvious reasons to make it stick. So I'll leave that to cool, and then I will just work on this one. And although I am moving the iron around, I'm not kind of doing this. I kind of release the pressure and then move it. And once it's stuck down a little bit, it's kind of okay, but you're in danger of smudging the lettering if you move it too much at this stage of the game, especially on a t-shirt or something. It can easily smudge. I mean, these are literally, you know, almost disposable bags, really. I just, as I say, I just like doing this sort of thing. I don't think any of them watch my channel, or at least I don't think they'd watch this one, to be fair. So it's probably, well, I don't know, when will this go live? I don't know. I'm seeing them on Saturday, so to be fair, it'll probably go live after that. So see, what you do then is you just oh, see, that's not stuck properly. You can see straight away that if the letter starts to come up with the backing, the kind of carrier vinyl, then that's no good. Sometimes once it's cool, what I do is I lift it, take the, if it's enough to stick it on but needs a bit more, then I will take this off and just use a bit of baking parchment, because obviously the heat gets to it quicker through a thinner barrier. So let's see. Luckily, having long nails, I don't have to worry about, well, long, they're not terribly long, but see, that's not stuck enough for my liking. So a good rule of thumb is that the fabric, the weave of the fabric should show through the lettering, and then that way you know that it's properly melted into the fabric. Yeah, that's much better. A little bit more. While I'm doing that, this one will have cooled down. And you can see now, I think, can you see quite clearly that that lettering is properly imprinted onto there. So I'll see how this one is doing. Oh, no, you see, I've been a victim of my own speeding too much. I've managed to break the arrow. I think when I lifted up the plastic carrier for the bottom one, I tore the arrow of the top part, but that's fine. You know, these are kind of rustic. They're a bit more rustic than I was planning on them being, but that's fine. I'm not going to do it again because I don't have the time or the inclination to do it again. But see what I mean? If you rush it, you can peel the pink off or the vinyl off, and then you spoil the whole effect. So it's just practice and patience, really. I mean, it was hilarious when I did the crackers. Everyone said, "Oh, you're so patient." Well, luckily my kids didn't read that because they all say that I'm the most impatient person on the planet. I want everything done yesterday. So you get the picture anyway. I'll just see if this is going to lift off. No, it's still quite, I'll let it cool down a bit more. And then do it with the baking parchment. See, that's still lifting. That's pretty good. It's still really hot. See, I'm proving the point that I've got no patience. Anyone who does this properly is probably screaming at the camera right now. But I'm not pretending that this is a tutorial. I am just showing you what I do, and so that if anyone's thinking maybe to get one of these, you know, for Christmas or to buy it for someone else, then it gives you a good kind of starter. So I will finish that one. That's finished, and I'll show you how that goes inside. And I'll just give them that. I mean, it is a shame that heart's damaged, but there you are. You know, it's homemade. So it's cute. It's nothing, you know, magnificent. I'm not claiming that it is, but it's just a little gift. And just shows that I love them. And I'll get on and do the other 3 now. And then I'll get on with the cake. And these are the finished article. So a little bag with a little decoration in, just as a tiny little Christmas gift. I hope they like them. Take 2. So this is the cake that I cooked in the slow cooker, and lots of people asked to see the cake and where was the cake and everything else. And, you know, with hindsight, I should have waited until the cake was ready before I uploaded the video. But, you know, I'm still learning all this stuff. So I appreciate those of you who waited for it to come up. But I have just started to coat it in jam. And but it looks lovely, and I had to level the top off because it's sticky, because it rose a little bit, and I wanted to kind of get it flatter. So I've got enough jam on there now to stick the marzipan. And what I would say, I cooked it in the slow cooker, and I did answer this in quite a few people's comments, but I'll say it again. So I had an 8-inch tin, and I put it into my 6-litre slow cooker, and I put it on 1 hour at high, and then it was about 5 hours before the knife was coming out clean. And I did notice the condensation in the lid. So I folded a tea towel in half and put the lid back on top, and that stopped the condensation dripping into the cake. I mean, we won't know for sure if it's okay or not until Boxing Day probably, but it looks good. It tastes good for what I've tasted. I mean, it just tastes like fried jute, dried fruit. You know, all good stuff, all good ingredients. So what I'm going to do now is, I've got my marzipan here. I'm going to knead this until it looks a bit gunky there. I think it's just it's still within its sell-by date. This is just the Tesco marzipan. So I will knead this. You don't need to see me do that. So I will, what I might do is actually I'll put it on double speed and see if that works. So bear with me while I do that. So I've rolled this marzipan out, and I'm only going to put marzipan on the top of the cake because lots of people in my family don't actually like marzipan. So I have got another packet of marzipan, so it's not that I don't have enough, but I just don't see the point when people just take it and leave it. So I'm just going to pop that on there. And what I did last year, which I think I might do again, is I kind of, sounds a bit daft, but I kind of did the icing as though it was snow. So I just sort of did it into kind of a circle with kind of curvy edges, I suppose, for want of a better expression. And then I'll just put a ribbon around it. So I'll just cut this off, sort of probably just about an inch over the edge of the cake. Just so that the icing's got a nice base to sit on. See, there's loads left, but you know, it is what it is, isn't it? So it's like it's got a little hat on, isn't it? So that's the marzipan done. Just give that a dusting of ice and sugar. Do you know, I've had this tin. Oh, you know, there's always a story with me. When I was a young woman, like really young, 18, my first job was at a company called Metal Box. I don't know if they're still going or not, but anyway, they used to, I worked in the research and development lab just as a PA, but, and that, I don't know if they were part of Tala. Do you know Tala, the bakeware people? And they used to come and do a sale, and I bought that then. So I've had that since I was 18 years old, probably. But I mean, you know, it does the job. And I bought all these things and put them in. Was I engaged then? No, I must have been 19 because I bought them to put in my bottom drawer, which is a very old-fashioned concept now, isn't it? So, but that always kind of, you know, brings back fond memories of a long time ago. And then this rolling pin was actually Rob's brother emigrated to Canada, and of course all the other women in the family who were already married and had homes and everything all had their rolling pins. So he gave me that rolling pin. So that's probably about 50 odd years old, but like, what can go wrong with a rolling pin? It's a nice one. It hasn't got any, you know, it's nice and long and everything. Anyway, I mean, that's all by the by, but it's just funny how these things come back to you. So I'm going to pop the cake there to one side, just have a little clean up before I get the icing out, because it all picks up, doesn't it? I anti-back the whole worktop before I just shoved this into the dishwasher like that. Rob saw me do it. He thought I was putting all the rubbish straight onto the floor, but just little bits of stuff that will dissolve. I just open the dishwasher door and put it in. It's easy, and that's just sugar really, so that will easily dilute. Right, so it's a big old slab of icing, but it wasn't expensive, and there's nothing worse than having less than you need, is there? I'm going to decorate the top with some icing as well, so that's fine. Well, I'm just going to give my hands a quick wash because there's still some marzipan on them. It's a sticky job, this. I think I'm ticking everybody off because when I say how much I've done already, which is only really, I mean, I am usually ahead of the game, but it's particularly efficient this year because I've been filming it for you guys. So, yeah. So again, go in with the icing sugar, just so it doesn't stick to everything. My friend's daughter has got a very successful now cake making business. She's only a young woman. She's only, I think, 18, 19. And, but my friend said it doesn't matter how much you wipe down, the icing sugar sort of still settles later. Must be a nightmare trying to clean that up. When we went to New Orleans last year, not last year, a few years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago. See, that's picking up marzipan still from somewhere. I don't know where. What was the thing called? Oh, one of you will know. But I'll find out and I'll put it up on the screen. They're like these little puff pastry things that are just covered in... I'm just going to wipe that off as well. They're covered in icing sugar. And the whole floor is covered in icing sugar. Everything is covered in icing sugar. They're delicious because they're all freshly made. And I'm trying to think, they've got a French name because obviously a lot of New Orleans is French. But yeah, I thought, oh God, I wouldn't want to clear that up. So I've never made fondant icing. I know you can, but yeah, what's the point? When I was young, it was always royal icing, wasn't it, that you used? Mum used to, every Christmas cake was just snow. Do you remember? The royal icing. You just kind of got the palette knife and did that on the top and all the snow stuck to it. So this is rolling out really nicely and easily. So I won't turn it. I'm sure, you know, I'm very aware that there's probably people a lot more capable than me doing this. I'm just showing you what I do. And I'm not being kind of falsely modest. I just don't want to crack on like I'm some sort of expert because I really am not. But, you know, if you do anything often enough, you can get good at it. I've got another friend who is an excellent cake maker, and she does such intricate, whatchamacallit, decorations and little figures. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, all that work. And then it just has a knife stuck through it. I couldn't bear that. That's pretty thick, but right, so there we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lid of the cake stand as a template. It's a good idea, isn't it? If I'd have pushed it down a bit harder, it probably would have actually just cut the icing. That would have been even cleverer, wouldn't it? So I'll keep that because that'll probably be enough for the decoration I've got in mind. So you see what I mean? It's just like a topper, really. And I'm just going to use a faithful ribbon to put round the side, because, you know, this is just for us. It's just for this family. So I've got a nice gold ribbon here. And I'm just going to pop that round. I've got some edible glue, so I will stick it together. Not that anyone's going to try and eat the ribbon, but I mean, sometimes I pop a pin into it, but right, never used this before either. This little tube of edible glue I picked up from somewhere. Found it in my stash. Yeah, so, you know, like I say, I'm not claiming to be any kind of Mary Berry, but it's just for it to look nice while it's on the side. And then at the end of the day, once we start cutting into it, that's that, isn't it? So what I'm going to do now with this offcut is I've got a star cutter here, and I need these to be a little bit wider. So I am going to just get as many stars out of this as I can. Just a simple star cutter. 1, 2, looking forward to next week. Katie's taking a day off work and we're going to go out kind of Christmas shopping. But when I say we're going Christmas shopping, I've virtually done all my shopping now, so I can just relax and we can have a nice lunch out. And that's my idea of Christmas shopping. I never want to go with anybody to go Christmas shopping. I mean, it's hard work, isn't it? But so what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can I get another one out? Near enough. Right. So I might need to roll that out. So I'll just pop that to one side. And get the stars there. This is so simple, but it's quite effective. And I am just going to, can you see it? No. Let me bring it closer. I'm just going to start off with some glue here. And then really, they're going to stick to each other, so I probably won't even bother with any more glue. So we go 1, then 2, 3. I'm just putting them any old way. I'm not, you know, I'm not being precious about it. It's really just a family Christmas cake, you know. I am going to need some more. I'm going to pop a little bit more glue there. So what do we reckon? Another 3 or 4? Probably. So I'll pop all this icing back together and roll it out again. Oh, had a busy day today. And then, you know, I put the sewing machine away. You'll see. Well, this is the second half of this video, really. So the first half you'll have seen I did some sewing, and I thought, oh, I'll put it all away And as I put the sewing machine away, I saw that fur. Do you remember the fur headband that I was going to put the elastic in? I was like, oh, damn. I had literally just put the whole thing away. Never mind. Well, that's loads there. So I'll do 4 since I've got so much icing. Why I like this decoration is because it looks really kind of sophisticated, but it's so easy. Oh, that's probably enough. Right. And then what I do, I might put that one in the middle actually, why not? As soon as I've got it, I'll stick that one down. And then this is where the magic happens, she says, hopefully. Pop a layer of icing sugar on. And then take the blowtorch to it. And just gently caramelise the sugar. There, and that's that. The smoke detector will go off in a second. Can you see? Smells lovely. And then the last thing I am going to do, I'll just let that cool down and dry a little bit. And I've got this edible glitter. I'm going to put it on now, but it might be a waste of time because of the fact that it's still a bit wet. It's amazing what you can get now just in the supermarket, isn't it? That's still a bit wet, really. But anyway, you get the idea. So that will have a nice sparkle to it. And that's done. Ready for Christmas. Is that going to fit on there? Yes. Take that off. I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Oh, by the way, because you're bound to ask, this is last year's next sale, this sweater, and it's really warm, and it's been a really mild day today, so I've been really warm and hot. But anyway, I do like it. It's got this, I don't know if it's coming up on the camera, but it's got all these little gemstones on it. I don't think it's kind of Christmassy, I just think it's pretty. And 3 people today have said how much they like the jumper, and they were just my neighbour and 2 delivery people, so win-win.